Good evening. Welcome to this regular session of the Fayette County Board of Education on this September 30, 2025. Mr. Chris, I'd like to ask you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sir. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chris. Thank you, board members. Let the record reflect all 5 board members are present this evening with Ms. Whitlock calling in on the phone. We have no public delegations or comments, but we've got lots of recognitions and reports this evening. So looking forward to hearing a lot of different topics, and we'll get started with our teen court. So Ms. Hedrick, we'll invite you up to announce our guests, please.
Superintendent Warble, President Gray, elected board members, I would like to thank you all for allowing us to be here this evening. And tonight we have some very special guests with us. And it's the members of our teen court. These are students from Fayette County. Not only our public school, our private school, and homeschool students are represented here. This is an awesome opportunity for these students to learn, to give back to the community, to be part of the school. There are many, many, many different ways to be a part of a community, a school, a family. And I said there's different types of leadership, as we discussed today, a little bit in our curriculum team meeting. And I asked the kids when they came in, I said, do you know the 2 parts of communication? And there are 2. And believe it or not, the first one is listening. The second is speaking. And I think that we can learn a tremendous amount, valuable information from our students and from our teachers. At this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Kristen Perry. Ms. Perry is a teacher at Oak Hill High School, and she is also the new leader of the Fayette County Teen Court.
All right. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for the opportunity to allow myself and Teen Court and our student volunteers to be here this evening. I'm going to keep it very brief because the people we all want to hear from are our students, and we've got 3 of them lined up to speak to you this evening. So, Teen Court, if you're not super familiar with the program, is written into state code and was originally founded here in Fayette County by Diane Collison, who is here, and Judge Ewing. And it serves as an alternate sentencing option for any student 7th through 12th grade who has a misdemeanor. So it is founded on the idea of restorative justice, positive peer pressure, and the idea that students who are sentenced by a jury of their peers are less likely to reoffend and more likely to learn the lessons inherent in those consequences. So I just want to give you some statistics very quickly. So first of all, a student jury determines the consequences of the juvenile offenders once they get to an actual hearing. There is a process before that happens, but once they get to the hearing, and it will always include 2 things. One of those is between 16 and 40 hours of community service, and the other is that they then have to come back and serve on 2 future juries and become a part of the process. And I have not been involved in Teen Court for a lengthy amount of time. I just started at the beginning of August this year as the new coordinator. But I can tell you already that this is a spectacularly impressive group of student volunteers. And it's a program that I would not have applied to coordinate if I did not believe deeply in its efficacy. So other consequences aside from those 2 standards can vary depending on what the student jury decides. It could be things like a letter of apology. It could be some other form of restitution. It could be a class at the Youth Reporting Center on maybe anger management or a tobacco cessation course, something along those lines. So I will tell you that since its inception, Teen Court has received 102 referrals for juvenile offenders. 62 of those cases have gone all the way through the process to hearing. 36 of those students have successfully completed the program. So that's 36 kids who do not now have a misdemeanor on their record as they start their lives. That's 36 kids who, in just a few short years, have had the opportunity to say, yes, I made a mistake. Yes, I own that. Yes, I'm ready and willing to accept whatever consequence my peers decide upon. And then they have followed through and provided all of the documentation and done all of the things that they are supposed to do. During last school year alone, 24-25, 34 youth volunteers contributed over 200 hours of community service of their own time voluntarily. And additionally, juvenile offenders completed another 42 hours. So you're looking at 250 community service hours in one school year from a very small subset of our population. Additionally, successful completers are then tracked for a year to make sure that Teen Court is doing its job, to make sure that we are as efficacious as we can be. We look at grades, discipline, attendance, and we really follow up with those kids. It's not like, okay, you completed your community service, now get out here. And I know that some of our youth volunteers really form relationships with those juvenile offenders that they work with, that they sit on the jury for, that they defend or prosecute, no matter, whatever their role is. And that really also lends itself to that idea of positive peer pressure. So our juvenile offenders aren't necessarily there because they're making great decisions, but if they can become friends with kids who are making great decisions, that goes a really long way. We also recognize our youth volunteers in a ceremony every May, and that comes with scholarship money. So last year, 2 outstanding volunteers were awarded $1,500 worth of scholarship. So I am proud to be the new Teen Court Coordinator. I look forward to working with you. But I'm going to hand it over to the people you really want to hear from. And the first is an Oak Hill High School senior, Miss Lucy Zukowski. And they made this. This is student made. They made you a little one-pager with their talking points.
Thank
Is that Susan first? Susan's first. Lucy? Okay. Lucy, who's the two ladies that you brought up with? Is this the prosecuting attorney and the defense attorney you brought up?
You guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves? My name is Evie Jones, and I will be speaking alongside Lucy also this evening.
My name's Shayla Keeney, and I will also be speaking beside Lucy and Edie this evening.
So, as we said, my name is Lucy Zukowski. I'm a senior at Oak Hill High School. I'm going on my 3rd year inside this program and participating alongside these amazing volunteers that have came in and out of this program, and all of the juveniles I have personally been able to see and really hope that we can all make a difference in their lives and help them. The first thing I really want to talk about is the benefits of Teen Court, because not only does it help the juveniles get the misdemeanor erased from their record, it helps the volunteers. I personally have decided to pursue law and have actually been applying to colleges under a political science degree and would like to attend law school. This program has taught me more than anything else I could have learned in this young age about how a courtroom really works. I get to go into law school in these classes with knowing all of the different roles inside the courtroom that other students may not have that ability. It helps with public speaking and forming relationships and being a part of a community that means more than just you. There's also so many resources that are often overlooked throughout the year that students may not have access to or aren't aware of or don't know how to reach out for help to get those resources. Being able to give students depositions is us being able to give them resources that they're not aware of. The thing I try to do most when I'm a defense attorney is to really ask what they need. Not, oh, you're in trouble, how do we get out of it? It's, oh, are you struggling with vaping? Okay, let's put you in tobacco cessation. That's what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting to get you that help. Are you having problems at home? Let's find out what program we can ask for to help you. Not just let's punish you, not no. What do you need in order to be successful and continue your education and grow into adults that we all want to see in our community?
That's great. Yeah.
Good evening. I am going to be talking about some of the relationships that I have personally formed with students who I either defended or prosecuted while working with teen court. Many of the people in teen court or outside of teen court believe that once a student finishes the disposition that we give them, that they just stop. Like our new coordinator told you all, we keep in contact with these people. I have reached out and helped many people find community service hours that I'm personally helping with and working with to bring them into the community. One of my favorite ones is the mural at Pinheads, and I got 3 different juvenile defendants to come out and help us with that, and now a couple of them still help and volunteer in teen court. We are making these relationships not just with our juvenile defendants, but with each other. I have made great relationships with Lucy and some of our people who are not here tonight, like Rikard and Sarabella Wood. I have great relationships with them, and I get to involve myself in things in our community, whether that's with adults or with kids. I now get to work with our new superintendent at an advisory council that I learned about through teen court, and it's all amazing things that we get to learn and relationships that we get to build. I'm also going to tell you all a bit about our jury dispositions and what we do and how we come up with them. So after we hear from both lawyers, we go back to our jury decision room. We pick a head chair and a spokesperson. The head chair is going to fill out the form that we then give to the judge and to the defendant to sign, saying, yes, I see that I have to finish 30 hours of community service and 2 court cases, or yes, I have to write a paper showing that I've learned the mistakes that I've made. Once we have done that and we have filled out the paper and it has become unanimous, which means that we all have agreed on it. We don't just say, oh, well, I want this, so I'm writing this down because I'm the jury chair. We don't do that. We all talk about it and we see what they said, how remorseful they were, or what they told us. And we find out something through our handbook, we can pick for them to write a code of ethics, a paper on the, let's say they got caught for vaping. We could make them write a page on the effects of vaping and what actually goes inside a vape, so they can learn what they're putting inside their body, not just the basic stuff that everybody knows or the myths that people say that it's just flavored water. We also then take this piece of paper to the judge and go and sit back down. And then our head spokesman will get up and read the paper in front of everybody so everyone can hear it and know what the juvenile has to complete.
Yeah, I'm doing a meeting, yeah.
It's okay. These are all things that we do to help the defendant so they know personally, and what it's written down so they know what they're having to do.
Okay, so firstly, I'm going to be talking about the responsibilities that both
Push the microphone home with you.
Or turn it towards
Thank
you.
you.
There you go.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about both the responsibilities that us as people in teen court and the juvenile offenders both have. So as a part of teen court, if you're one of the attorneys, you have to be willing to talk to your juvenile offender, to work with them, to help them better themselves through this process. And as a jury member, you have to be open-minded. You can't lead in with any bias, and you have to speak up and talk about what you think is right for this person. And the consequences, so next I'm going to be talking about the consequences of your actions. So let's say you get in trouble for vaping. You get through this process, and then, so in your disposition, you could be told that you have to write a paper, or you have to be part of the tobacco cessation program. So you could get kicked out of school. So all of these will teach you that what you're doing is bad for not only your body, but bad for what you're putting in the community, and that these things will either, being a part of this process will either help you in your future or demolish it. And let's say you get caught bullying or something along those lines. You could have to write a paper about how bullying is bad and do an apology. And it really shows you how much it not only affects you or the other person that you're doing these things to, and it gives you some like emotional intellect. And so lastly, I'm going to talk about the problems we're seeing at school. So along with vaping, which is one of the biggest ones that we're seeing at school, there's also some disrespect towards the teachers. And it's not talked about enough, and we're not getting these cases to be able to help these kids. So not only could the disrespect towards teachers be just them lashing out, it could also be problems going on at home. So ways that we could help this is giving them anger management classes, going to see how they're doing at home, because we not only want to fix the problem, we want to be able to keep this problem out. And then with the vaping, there's a lot of undiagnosed things in schools where we see a lot of vapors. I think as a whole collective community, we need more cases. We need to be able to teach all these students what's wrong with it, what's happening, and why it's such a harmful thing for their bodies. That's all I have.
So as you've heard from all of us, we've all talked about from the process of teen court to the juveniles to what their deposition could be. We've also briefly talked about the referral gaps, and that's something we strongly want to bring attention to, because we can't help these kids. We can't get these turnouts. We can't change these lives and help these records if we're not getting the cases to do so. And yes, we want the misdemeanors. We want to be able to help them get that record, but it's also, we can help with more than just that. We can help with the disrespect. We can help with the vaping, like on the misdemeanors. We can do so much inside the schools that is just being missed. And that's something that we really want to bring attention to and have you guys see that we are doing this good, but we can't do it if we're not getting the cases.
So I think what Lucy is alluding to is that we are very much looking forward to your partnership with us. We are very much looking forward to your collaboration to see what other issues exist in our schools that teen court can help address, because at the end of the day, we are a resource and we're a good one. So things that maybe don't necessarily fall as far up as the misdemeanor scale, we can have a conversation about how we could maybe integrate that with some of the Fayette County Schools disciplinary policy. I'll just give you a very quick, for example, Diane and I had a meeting with Rachel Brandstetter, the pro at Trail, the other day, and she said that after 5 late to schools, which is a huge, I teach seniors, my kids are always late. After 5 late to schools, they lose their parking pass. Well, what if they could go through the teen court process, which is not quick, it takes several months, and get their parking pass back? You know, it's not a misdemeanor, but will it teach them a lesson? Will there be consequences? Will there be responsibility for their actions? Absolutely. But that's something that we would need your partnership with to kind of codify. So we are ready and willing and open to answer any questions you might have.
How many students you have in your program so far?
Currently, we have approximately 20-ish active volunteers. There have been, since its inception, 2020, right, Diane? Is that when you guys started teen court?
2021 was our first case.
2021. There have been, since graduated, I'm going to say 100-ish volunteers throughout the years, yeah.
What do you find that you guys need more resources, or like what resources do you find that you need to keep the program strong? I know I was there during the orientation and it was very insightful, and I know one of the things identified were the name badges, which I see that you guys
Yes,
have.
we're
Mr.
so
York,
happy.
Was able to get that for you guys. But is there
I don't know who took the pictures. I just provide the badges.
Do you find yourself needing any other resources to strengthen the program, or to?
We have a lot of community partners, and so the program in itself is pretty strong. A couple areas where we could always use help is those opportunities for those volunteer hours. If there are community events or people that you guys could connect us with that are in need of teen volunteers, it's always good to have those in your pocket. And then we also, just to be blatantly honest with you, we need referrals. We need to, so originally a lot of what we saw was the vaping, and The law has now changed that none of our pro officers can write a ticket, which means that none of these are necessarily misdemeanor offenses. They're not ticketable. So we lose our ability to assign that consequence, because if it's teen court or the ticket in the court process, that's one thing that gives us some leverage. But if the pro officers don't have that ability anymore, and they don't, then we've lost our leverage. So that's why we need to look at what else we can be a resource for, you know? Yes, we have wonderful programs through the YRC. Yes, we're tapped into vaping cessation. Yes, we're tapped into a lot of different places. But if we are an underutilized resource, then our program suffers too.
I'll tell you, keep bringing leaders like you brought tonight before people, gotta keep going. Young ladies, you all did an outstanding job of sharing what the program's doing, and I think we've kind of followed it as well throughout, and you just keep building great leaders, and those young ladies gonna do well out in society.
Yes, they
And
will.
I know you have many more the same way, that we're not up here today, and to me, that's what the program is to build. And so you're doing a great job with that, and you know, like Mr. Chris said, I know that as a board, we feel, I think, I'm one board member, of course, I think I can say that we support what you're doing.
Thank you.
And
We
I think
appreciate
it's
that.
going to help kids going through your program.
And that's what we're here to do. We're a resource to help kids.
Ms.
Did a
Perry,
great job.
just a couple things. First of all, I think, Ms. Callison, you're back there. We're used to seeing you up here, right, with this?
I'll be up there soon.
She's next. She's next.
So, at one point, I know that we had trouble getting our cases in because of resources, because we had more cases than you could handle. So, has that changed, and has that changed because of the legislation?
So that, we do not, you do not currently have more cases than we can handle. I'll
Okay.
tell you that much, Mr. Gray. But we can see in an average, we meet one Thursday a month, or one Monday a month, as a teen court, and we can see about 3 cases. If there were to become more cases that needed to be seen, we could meet more often. I mean, it's just a matter of
So you
working that
have
out with the
some
judge in his
bandwidth now to
courtroom
pick up
and-
more
Yes,
cases?
we do.
Okay.
And that's part of, appointing Kristen as the coordinator.
Okay.
Is some of that bandwidth has been addressed, but yes, we are ready for cases.
Okay.
Very ready.
And those ideas you came up with, you can either email me, but I would rather, because I can okay things, but Mr. Harper, he's our secondary director. You have his email.
Yes.
I would email him that one for getting your car parking taken away and to get it back. That's a great idea to use. I think it's great to learn from, the pro officer saying, you might want to look at this. To me, on the surface, that sounds like one of those things that could be used in teen court, for example. But if you vet it through Mr. Harper, I don't see that to be a problem.
Okay.
But driving isn't like it was when I was a kid. Everybody wanted to drive. Now it's like nobody wants their driver's license anymore. So I'm excited to hear that kids want to drive. So
So I had one additional thing, and that is for those community partnerships for community hours. Every one of our communities have small little fire departments. There you go. And that need help. So I would just say reach out to them,
Okay.
and I bet they can help provide opportunities.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
So. Any
Great
other
job.
questions or comments?
ladies did a nice job
Yeah,
presenting.
everyone did a very
Thank you
nice
so
job.
much for your
Great
time.
program, too.
We're going, I think Bob's ready to get us, the students are supposed to get behind us
Come up
to
here.
make us look good, and then we get a picture that way. Yeah.
Amy's running.
Which school were you from? Prosecuting. Trail. And I know. I am. She's Oak Hill.
She's
also from Oak Hill too. I graduated from.
Oh, no, you're so, okay. There you go. How many pictures was that?
Thank you guys so
Are you gonna get those two to get on
Thanks for Bob just did.
You gotta get them too.
Then you better
I got
talk-
somebody already.
Okay, good job.
Thank you.
You two need to talk to the Oak Hill Connection, ladies. Just putting out there. Yeah, Evie will tell you who they are. You probably know who they are. Okay, don't act like you're shy for one time. Yeah, don't pretend.
Right, who's bringing Miss Callison up? Miss Hedrick as well? or-
I don't. Miss Hedrick? Are you introducing the next person too?
I tell you, going out after these football games and
You
cleaning them
mind doing
stands,
that?
that would be a good.
Because you're doing a good job of emceeing. Look at her. You did such a good job. I guess we just appreciate you doing the announcing tonight. So thank you.
Where's the restroom that I can use? That way?
go that way and come
That way?
Yeah,
Go that way and then go left.
And walk like you're going back to the board meeting.
You have a quarter? Gotta pay you in, don't you?
That's right.
Sorry, they're all trickling out.
So our next speaker, excuse me, is no stranger, obviously, to our Fayette County or our board meetings, but Ms. Diane Callison is here to speak about the early learning community. Ms. Callison?
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Same person, different thing.
Yeah.
Y'all will never get rid of me. My name is Diane Carlson. I am the executive director of the Fayette County Family Resource Network. So that is a nonprofit here in Fayette County. We are focused on resource development and community collaboration. We are the lead organization for the initiative I'm talking about today, which is an early learning community. So I'm going to give a little bit of background and then say kind of what we're doing here in Fayette County, and then I have some folders for you all. So nationally, there is a group called the Early Learning Nation. Very close to Early Learning Community, just Early Learning Nation. And they are a nonprofit that helps local communities look at gaps and successes for families with kiddos with kids under the age of 8. So that's the age range we're looking at, prenatal to 8 for our kiddos. They've created an assessment tool that ranks communities in 4 areas. They call them building blocks. It's community commitment, neighborhoods, services, and policies. They have implemented this model successfully around the nation. However, they have never done it in a rural community. So Fayette County is one of only 6 rural communities in the nation who is implementing this model. So another hat off to Fayette County for being a leader in the nation. So myself and Melissa Colagrosco, she's with A Place to Grow and the Together We Grow initiative, and then Ellie O'Keefe, she's our parent representative. The 3 of us participated in a rural cohort. We learned about the model, we learned about the assessment tool, and then we received a $25,000 grant to kind of kickstart our efforts. So our first year is about assessment. Where are our gaps? What are our parents with kids under the age 8 saying in those 4 areas? So I'm going to pass, if you'll just kind of take one and pass one along, and you can leave one for Ms. Whitlock as well. I'm going to go over what's in the folder and kind of how we're collecting that data through qualitative and quantitative measures. So if you open your folders, the first thing you will see is going to be this blue and yellow flyer. This leads to the national assessment. So the assessment that our community, the other communities implementing this model is going to. And there's the website there if you don't want to scan the QR code. We are asking that local leaders like yourself or other community members who are already involved in this early learning do the national assessment that ranks our communities in those 4 areas. But being a rural community, we learned very early on that this model, this online model, is not going to work for a lot of our community. Internet access, having an email address, and then navigating the questions, even I was like, I don't know where Fayette County lands in this question. So your next paper in your folder is going to say parent and community assessment. Our local team took the national assessment, pulled the information we thought was most beneficial, and made simple yes or no questions in those 4 areas. We are able to incentivize the completion of this survey. We were able to give $25 gift cards for 125 parents, and we have reached that goal of 125 parents. So we have that data. If parents want to fill out this paper version, or there is a Google form version as well, they still can. We are still accepting responses, but that incentive will look a little bit different now that we've kind of reached our goal for that. The last item in your folder is going to be a booklet that our local community made. It kind of goes over a little bit about the national level that I talked about, a little bit about what we're doing here in Fayette County, and then it breaks down the national goals into tangible action steps that our community members can take. And then it has our local contacts on the back, myself, Melissa, and Ellie. Like I mentioned, this whole first year is about assessment, finding out where Fayette County lies. Yes, we know there's a problem in some areas, but how do we know that, and where do we know that? Not only are we collecting the assessment data, but we are hosting parent events. So I'm actually gonna pass around another flyer. I didn't want to put it in your folder because I didn't want to distract you, but there is a flyer there. We already hosted one successful community event in Golly Bridge. We partnered with the Starting Points there with Kelly Gladwell. And our next community event is going to be October 14th. We are partnering with Parents as Teachers, so we're hosting it at the New River Convention Center. So parents will have discussions, kids will have activities, we'll have free food, and if they complete the parent survey at the event on the 14th, they will receive that $25 incentive, because our event budget looks a little bit different than our incentive budget. So any parents that come out to our event on the 14th can receive a $25 gift card just for answering simple yes or no questions. Lastly, I want to just kind of cover what we're seeing so far. Like I mentioned, we have 125 responses to the parent survey. I pulled the highest no responses in the 4 areas that we talked about. So these ones that I'm going to go over are the most parents that said no to the question on this survey. So for community commitment, do you feel that Fayette County makes young children and families a priority here? There also is a why. So I kind of pulled some of the no's and what their why was. Some of their whys are our community is more focused on tourism, lack of resources for children with disabilities, need for more activity and more parent involvement groups. So again, that's just a small catchment, and we only have 125 responses, so like keep all that in mind, but that's what some of our parents are saying as far as community commitment goes. For services, there were 2 highest no responses. The first one was options for childcare ages 0 to 36 months and options for childcare for children with special needs. And I would say yes, we're all kind of aware of those 2 options. For neighborhoods, the highest answered no is, do you interact with your neighbors? There is a subsection on if you answered yes, what does your interaction look like? But of course, if they answered no, they didn't provide what interacting with your neighbors looks like. And then lastly, policies. The highest answered no is, do local leaders pay attention to how their decisions affect families? I also additionally pulled because there is kind of a subsection of you all in the policies. So if you look on the back of your parent survey, do you feel welcome to voice your opinion to the following groups? Option C is school meetings. So PTO group, parent groups, IEP meetings. I pulled the response rate for that. Right now, 85% of the 125 responses answered yes, that they do feel comfortable voicing their opinion in those meetings. So I think that's a good bump for you all and for the school meetings. There are over 26 different locations of the 125 responses, because we want to know where they're coming from. The top 3 responses are going to be Oak Hill at 30%, Fayetteville at 20%, and Ansted at 14%. Of course, some people put, I live out Beckwith, or I live in Boomer, or I live here. So like those only have like 1 or 2 maybe, but those 3 are our highest kind of response rates.
Can you give us that breakdown one more time?
Oak Hill is the highest response rate with 30% of the 125 responses. Fayetteville is at 20%. and Ansted is at 14%. Those are our top three of where our parents are identifying as their community within Fayette County. I only have one of these because, to be honest, it was very expensive to print. But if you need some light reading, this is what the national group gave us. What I really like about this is if there's a section, community commitment, services, if there's a section you're really interested in, it gives real life examples of what communities are doing to meet the gaps identified in those sections. So I really like it. It's called Communities in Action. It's kind of at the bottom of every other page or so. But I'm going to leave one copy with you all to kind of have and flip through if you would like. But I just want to reiterate that, we're not reinventing the wheel. We are doing something that has been successfully implemented, but it's going to look a little different because we are a rural community. And so I am glad that the national group is looking at how this can be adapted. Our year ends with this calendar year. So our grant year is 2025. So our next step is to create an action plan to address some of the things that our community are saying. And I'm hopeful that you all will be a part in what our community is saying and do the national assessment if you have some time and do some light reading, or even come out to one of our community events. So I'm here as a resource. I think you all know that pretty well. But I'm glad to be a part of this. I have kiddos under the age of 8, so this really hits home for me, and I want the best community for them, and I know you all do too. So I will answer questions if you have them. This is all still kind of new to all of us, but if there's something you would like to see or some type of action plan that you would like to see us address, happy to do so.
I see.
Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Diane,
Everyone.
I might be stealing, I probably am stealing Mr. Gray's thunder. I know he's going to ask this.
Okay,
But
let's hear it.
would we be able as a board to get the breakdown that you were talking about of the parent community assessment? I guess you guys have 125 responses.
We do.
That's something we would be able to get like a breakdown and look at that? Or?
I mean, it's in a Google Excel sheet, yeah. If you would like to see exactly what people are saying, yeah, absolutely. It goes as far as to, like I said, what community they identify with, what ages their kids are, and then there's some open-ended sections as well, which are harder to say like 85% or 80%, So I'm happy to share the raw data of the 125. The only thing I would remove is the information that's not confidential because we needed that to incentivize it. But moving forward, if someone were to fill out the Google form outside of an event, we couldn't incentivize it anyway. So I would just leave that off. So that way you all don't know what I said. Have some opinions. But I'm happy to share that. Absolutely.
Okay.
So our next board meeting, I think, is on the same day that you're having your event.
The 14th?
Is it possible, like, I would like to swing by, can I just come pop in and pop out?
Yep. It is
Okay.
a come-as-you-go event.
Okay, that's all I need
It
to
is
know.
very free-flowing.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to come in and kind of see what we're doing, if you want to take some food, absolutely.
No, it wasn't about the food, but yeah.
It's
No.
always about the food. That's
No,
how you get
listen.
people to places, is you
Listen,
feed
these
them.
people are lying. But anyway, on a serious note, I thought it'd be good for us to see and hear people as well as they see us. And if there's questions that we can have an opportunity that people can see our faces, but also put a name to it as well. I could bring a team of my people just to swing by, if you will, for about an hour and then come back because of
Absolutely.
the board meeting that night. But when I was looking at that, I thought, oh, I'd love to go. And then I looked and I'm like, oh, board meeting that evening. So
Yeah,
if
we'll be
you
there
don't-
from 1 to 4.
as long
So-
as we're allowed to
Yep.
pop in and out, I
Absolutely.
appreciate that invite, though.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. You don't have to tell us you're coming, just pop in. I'll be there, running the show most days. It'll be a good time. I'm really excited.
Good deal. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
As far as the age group that you're focused on is 8 and below,
Yes, that's what the national
those
group
families.
has identified as early learning, yes.
and I'm trying to wrap my head around the connection we can make even stronger between the educational community and what you're all dealing with. You see us being more involved, or are we?
I think if there is a gap that's identified and we want to write that in an action plan and we want to go for funding for that and it is school-age children, then yes, I think you all are one of the key players in identifying what that gap and that barrier is.
What is good. I mean, I've listened to your presentation and read some of this material. The benefit that the school system receives by y'all being here. I mean, what is the benefit?
Well, for just this year, it's just assessment. But after this year,
As it grows.
yes, we've only been doing this, it's September, almost October, 10 months. I mean, this started in January of 25. So our grant year is 2025, the calendar year. So it's just assessment. Like I said, we kind of know where the problems are and we can kind of say that, but where's like the school data or the community data that reinforces that? Because that's how you get funding and that's how you get action plans. It's not just saying the board has a problem or the commission has a problem or our community has a problem with childcare or housing, or we all know that. But where can we hone in? Where can we drill in to what our community is saying? And that's what this year is
So
about.
we're just a part,
Yes.
really a small part with all the community.
I think so. I think a big part, but yes, I think
Okay,
you all
but-
have
but-
insight as to what our parents are saying and
Okay.
where the gaps are.
You can
And
share that with us.
yes, and not just gaps, but what are we doing well? Like a lot of these questions have really high yes response rates. How can we keep that going? How can we support what's already
Good.
working? So that's really what this model is just seeing where our community is, gaps and successes, and then lifting those however we see fit, with funding, hopefully.
And if you need a letter of support, I'll do that. Because sometimes
Thank
that's
you.
all you need is a letter of support saying.
Knowing that you all know who I am and what I'm doing, yeah.
Well, but the other thing too is, as we move forward as a collective group, next school year, and Ms. Dooley's going to be reporting on this, is the third grade reading success act. And you're talking about all those kids that are in that target audience. And this is another way to provide interventions or be proactive. Intervention is not a bad word because kids come to us at all different levels. But if we can work with you all, this could help us get that message out to all the parents in the community that reading is very important, and a higher vocabulary that you have, the better off you will be when you go to take the test. The third grade test is not a third grade test. It's a pre-K through third grade test. But third grade teachers get nerved up because they know the test is during their school year. So this would be a good way to collaborate with you all.
So I've got a few things.
Let's hear them.
First off, I just want to say how proud we are of our FRM because I think we have one of the strongest ones in the state.
Thank you.
So,
I really love my job.
Well-
I really like to be here.
we're proud of all the work that goes on through the FRN. And some of the data points that you shared, that there's not a lot of surprises, especially under services, right? So I've got a question.
Sure.
How much do you believe our birth to 3 programs are utilized in our county?
I personally utilized it with my youngest son, so I have a very skewed perception. And of course, in my position as the FRN director, social services is our bread and butter. I have a very good relationship with Birth to 3, with WIC, with all of those community services. But I think there are some outliers. We have rural communities that physically can't get to the plateau.
Yeah.
But then these services can't physically be in those locations. So I don't think it's a one-size-all answer. And I think the rural nature of our community is always going to be against us.
And the reason I ask it, I think our Birth to 3 the Birth to 3 program is a great program, and there's a
Yeah.
connection with us, right? That if in Birth to 3 they can be recognized with a learning disability and be put into our pre-K
Right.
programs, right?
Right. My son was.
Yeah. So, and I believe the more we can introduce and involve people in Birth to 3, the more they might take advantage of all these other things that are out there if we get them involved early.
And same with Parents as Teachers. So Parents as Teachers is also a home-based program that goes up to the age of 5.
Okay.
So there are some gaps once your child ages out at age 3. They may not be able to go to a pre-K,
Right.
or they may not transition right into an IEP. So we do have another great resource here through New River Health Association that goes to the age of 5 and still does that in-home. Because that's the kicker, is the in-home. Like, some people can't always get to an office building or an 8 to 4 time frame, you know. Some of us are very fortunate to have flexible positions, but
And
that's
I-
not the everyday person.
And I think that, you know, I think Head Start has early Head Start now, right?
They
So-
do, and there's usually a very long waiting list,
Yeah.
but they do have to take so many students that have been identified with a learning disability or an IEP.
Yeah.
So, yes, there is that resource as
Yeah,
well.
so again, I think it's a great program. Wish we could see more people
Sure.
using it, so.
Absolutely.
And then, for the options for childcare for special needs.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps this is something where we can partner more, ensuring that we have adequate after-school programs in all our communities that we're able to, right? Would that help? Our after-school tutoring and programs like Code and things like that, that we have partnerships with. Does that help when people look at these services and say they're not available? If we're consistent in delivering those, do you think that would make an impact?
I think there would need to be some collaboration with those programmings to ensure that they know how to interact with a child who may have disabilities.
It's not just the disabilities,
Okay.
but I don't think we should exclude them from
No,
our
absolutely,
after-school
and I didn't think you were
programs.
saying that, but I do
Right.
think there might be some knowledge gaps or some training gaps if you're not already embedded into that kind of realm. We do have a very strong Friends of Autism group here in Fayette County. So anytime any kind of, you know, disability or learning disability is brought up, I always go to them, whether it's autism or not, because I know that they are strong in their network here. So I would encourage maybe a partnership with them to see maybe what their gaps are as far as the school system and what they're seeing. And if that's something we can help support that group and their meetings and their initiatives. That's
right.
where I would go.
That was my laundry list. So.
Okay.
Any other questions, board members?
Good job.
Thank you.
Ms. Callison, thank you.
I'm here to help.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good stuff. All right, Mr. Payton, I think you're up next.
Would you like the lights down for this?
Please.
Okay. I think Bob's getting it, but I'm not sure. Yep,
He's our light guy.
he is, he's got it. Tim, that's a hard group to follow.
Can't even think about it.
Tim's always got good stuff, though.
I'm just gonna do my 5 minutes and
But you got good
just
stuff.
bask
I
in
just wanted to
there.
help with the uncomfortable silence there,
Yeah.
so I didn't help.
That was awesome stuff.
That
you
was
know.
good stuff.
And I was trying not to think about having to follow all of that wonderful
I'm
stuff
sorry.
for kids. No, thank you, Mr. Warble, for pointing it out. Appreciate that very much.
We'll
So-
take this on the road, won't we, Tim?
Absolutely, absolutely. But anyway, so I will tell you this. I'm going to tell on myself just a little bit this evening. The presentation I did this evening, I actually had some help with AI. So we keep talking about that, and Ms. Dooley and I have talked about AI several times, and we've had some great, we've participated in some great presentations. And I've used it a little bit here or there, so I said, okay, what kind of presentation can I put together that will take my words and my pictures and help me do something just a little bit more dynamic and maybe help me cut down some time, because I spend a lot of time on these presentations. And I thought, well, what could I do? So, in all fairness and honesty, we ended up with Prezi. You're still going to hear me talk. But the presentation actually gave me a little bit of an outline, the AI did, and then it kind of put some slides together, and then it used stock photos, and I went through and put our photos in there. And so I ended up with probably about 30%, that I kept from, what it gave me. But it's a start, So now I see this, though, just again, talking about AI, and I keep turning to Dawn because we're going to be talking about that a little later on. But anyway, later in the school year. But I see how it can grow, and I see how it can be used. But you also have to manipulate it. You know, you make it do what you want it to do. So anyway, having said all that, we're going to talk about the current status of our building projects in Fayette County Schools. And I'm just going to give you a little overview of what we're doing. So one of the things that we're looking at is our current status. So right now, we have kind of 4 bigger projects that are going on. And the pictures that I have here on this slide, on the left-hand side, we have a rendering of Midland Trail Elementary School. And then on the right-hand side, we have where Meadow Bridge Elementary used to be, the old building. So still a little bit of a mess there to clean up. So we're going to talk about 4 different things here right now. We're going to talk about the Valley Electrical Repair Project. Mr. Groom, I know that that is, to both of us, that is near and dear to us. And it's a little frustrating. And if we would have had to have bid this project, it would have been even more frustrating because we would still be getting through that bidding process. We are at the point now where most of the material is going to be coming in early next week, and we'll be at about 95% of the material. I'm hoping that the 5% that's not quite going to be in next week doesn't delay us from getting started. But once we get started, we'll be okay. Meadow Bridge Phase 3, a little cleanup left to do there, but it's progressing right along. And I tell you, I hate to say that it looks good, but I mean, some of those older buildings out back behind Meadow Bridge Elementary School, and buildings sometimes they get to me, and something that's part of our community, but the progress that's been made. But just to see some of those old buildings that could not be used, and they just sat there, unused, and to see that we're actually making some progress. It's just going to be a wonderful space, I think. Midland Trail Athletic Facilities. I put a picture of the track. The track surface is finished. So now we haven't striped it yet. That's going to be the end of this week or first of next week is the plan. But the track surface has been completed and it looks amazing. So if you haven't had a chance to see that yet, we need to go up there and do that. A lot of good progress on the softball and baseball fields as well. Lights are in place. A lot of drainage going in on the fields and all of that.
Tim, quick question.
Yes.
Were we able to get the paving and stuff done behind the bleachers for the other track pieces that we were
No,
talking
so
about?
we're going to incorporate those as we finish the campus-wide project.
Okay.
Okay, so the field events are not in that area yet.
Okay.
Okay, but they will be.
Gotcha.
And I keep reminding Jim Sauer all the time. So, and we have another little project that we're working on too, and I'm kind of saving that for the next meeting. So
Okay.
we'll talk about that a little bit next time.
Mr. Payton, while
Yes.
we're on the Midland Trail campus,
Yes.
I had a question. I was actually up there Saturday for Little League football, and I was sitting in the bleachers, and I was wondering what the possibility would be while we have the equipment. There are trees at the end of the end zone that really are blocking the view of our nice new elementary school that's going to be built.
I walked out past that, Mr. Christ, and that old set of bleachers that's out there, I climbed up on it so I could see, the school, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to be able to just see that
Yep.
from up here, so.
Yeah. I wonder what the possibility that we could
Oh, yeah,
just.
I mean, we can
Clean
look
all
at
that
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can look at it. I mean, we want to be somewhat selective. There is, you know what I'm talking about. There's a hillside there and all that.
To
so.
hold some of that hill back.
Yeah, but yeah, we can definitely look at that. Anyway, coming along with the school, it is making good progress, walls going up, slabs going in, things like that. So, as I was saying, about 95% of the materials are going to be arriving next week for that electrical project. Once they come in, it'll take about 5 days to finish the project. So once we can get all the materials in, and most of that is outdoor work. So we're not going to really be interrupting, what's going on inside the school. They are as anxious to get it completed. Cart Electric, they're as anxious to get it finished as we are. And of course, the contract for this work is going to be on the agenda tonight too. So. At Meadow Bridge, we've had some issues with some security. We've had some people get into the gym, the old gym that we are keeping. We've had a little bit of vandalism. We've had some theft go on. And anytime you have a building like that, and people sometimes make assumptions that we're not going to be using the building and things like that. So Swope and we've had some conversations about making the site more secure, and I'm going to show you that just a little bit further along here. But we need to make sure that we are protecting that resource. It doesn't make sense to just keep putting money into this facility. It was in good shape, good enough shape to keep. We need to keep it that way. But we are going to have to replace some copper piping and some electrical components. So. And then, of course, the athletic facilities, the baseball field, the under drains are going in. It's just amazing. That is a picture of the softball field. That is the infield dirt. So that is the dirt that we will actually play on. So it has the lights in place, the infield dirt is in place, the drainage is in place, and it's really close to, you'll start seeing some fencing going up and dugouts and things like that. It's coming along. And the school itself, right now, they're focusing on concrete slabs. The next several days, they're going to be preparing to finish off the concrete slabs in the building. The first of next week, they will finish pouring the slabs Monday and Tuesday of next week, and then we'll keep going on with the block work too. Yes,
What's
sir.
the goal for getting it under roof?
You anticipated what I was going to talk about, Coach. That's
Okay.
okay. That's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about that next.
Thank you.
So actually, if you see that the fourth point there was the anticipated roof installation, and that's on the building. So some things that are pending. Let me go back to that. Sorry. Some things that are pending. Getting those materials in at Valley, making sure that we have those vandalism issues taken care of. The security issues taken care of there at Meadow Bridge on the gym. Getting that track striped so it's done, and then getting the building under roof. So our goal is to have it under roof before Thanksgiving. That's the goal. We want to be able to work inside this winter. Now that's the goal. Sometimes you miss goals a little bit, but we set lofty goals so that if we miss them, we don't miss them big, okay? But we still need to be able to get in there. I was telling Bob was asking me earlier today when his guys will be able to get in that building. And I said, plan on April, probably the middle of March. And again, that's being a little aggressive, but we got to be in the building. There is no plan B. We've got to be in the building, okay? And that's what I talked to.
Has getting materials been a problem?
It has not really been a huge issue. No, a little bit of steel, some issues there, but the project was bid soon enough that the subcontractors were able to get their materials ordered and get them coming. So things, big things, electrical switchgear and things like that we've had hold us up in the past on various projects. We did at Oak Hill on that addition there. We did at Meadow Bridge for a while, for months at Meadow Bridge. But that is not the case here. So we actually have rooftop units on the ground and, ready to go on the roof once we get it going, okay? One project that we do have that we're trying to get funded right now is the cafeteria kitchen renovation at Oak Hill High School. We've done some initial planning, no final designs of any kind, but just some initial planning. Looking at that, we've done our application to the SBA to try to secure some funding. That project has a estimated budget of about $9 million. And we're asking for $6 million of that. So we are going to be able to contribute $3 million towards that project. Funding, we will do our presentation. Mr. Warble will do his presentation the first week of November. And then the decision will be made for funding in the middle of December, actually December 15th. That is my 41st wedding anniversary to my lovely bride over there. So I let Mark Miller at the SBA know that would be a wonderful anniversary present, just for them to give us $6 million for this project. He said, yes, I bet it would be. So But anyway, he's very non-committal like that. But anyway, once we can get through that, we can get into the design phase and actually design what the space is going to look like. We have some ideas of what that's going to look like, and we want to be able to incorporate and include all the right people for that, including some of our students on that committee.
Ms. Payton, and just thinking in the future, I know you've thought about it, will that be mainly just taking place where we already have the structure, or you have to expand it out?
We'll be expanding out the back of the school towards where the new bus parking lot is now. So we'll end up, right now, that cafeteria is about 3,000 square feet. We need 9,000 square feet, really to make it a functional cafeteria space for the number of students that are in there eating.
But when you interfere with your access out back, as far as the road, it goes out where your buses are
We won't go
parked?
past the road. So
The what?
there will still be a road, there will still be a vehicle access around the building. The new kitchen will be back there, sort of adjacent to where the auxiliary gym is, and then the cafeteria will go out the other way. And then we will have a hallway there, we'll have some restrooms that'll be accessible to the two gymnasiums instead of having to come out and going down the hall. So we're going to put in restrooms there, some storage for the auxiliary gym because it has no storage at all right now. And then the existing cafeteria, we're hoping to make into some flex space that we can use for educational purposes, as well as for cafeteria purposes at lunchtime.
As you're looking forward to the future of this, you see that gap between the auxiliary gym and the current building, will that close?
Oh, yes, there will be no gap. Yep.
That's
So
good.
there'll be a hall, there will be an entrance from the
inside.
new hallway, which is existing kitchen cafeteria area, directly into that gymnasium. Yeah, so you won't have to basically go outside to get there. So,
Plus, we'd like to address, like Mr. Payton said, the restroom issues that we keep hearing from the students. So that should help out with a lot of problems that we've had to take on because we're retrofitting today's learners with yesterday's building,
that's right.
you know.
So, once we can get through, if we can get through funding and get through, and then we'll get through design and hopefully into construction. But, so the last two are kind of hopefuls right now. So, again, just kind of to summarize where we are, we're moving forward with the repair at Valley on the electrical system and making sure that the gym is secure. That looks a whole lot better than that other picture, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes, so they, I made sure we got a picture of that in there. And they are going to be moving forward with making those repairs and we're getting that cleaned up. The other thing is that I just want to add here is that there is a little bit of asbestos tile. That's part of our asbestos management plan for that part of the facility, but that's true of a couple of our facilities, which is not a big deal. But we have a brand-new school that is asbestos-free. So one of the things that we're going to do once they get some repairs made and get it tightened up is that we're going to have an asbestos abatement company come in, go ahead and get rid of that tile that's in there. There's some in the kitchen, there's some in the restrooms. And then that way the whole facility is asbestos-free and we don't have to worry about it, okay? So that's a plan, I just wanted you to know that. Sod is coming soon, sooner than you think. It'll be the middle of October and we'll be putting sod, and that's the baseball field. And it looks a lot flatter now than it used to there just a little while ago. So, and if you haven't been by there lately, take the opportunity to drive by. That is, I mean, it's just going to, that whole campus is just going to be amazing. I mean, it's just going to be absolutely amazing.
It's going to be a nice campus.
So, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And then, like I said, next time we can maybe talk about some other things that we may have an opportunity to do. Mr. Warble and I have talked about it a little bit. So I'm just kind of whetting your appetite with those things. I'm not going to say it too much right now. So
To be continued.
To be continued. That's right. Hopefully in a very positive way. So, but getting the Midland Trail Elementary School under roof, that's our big push right now. Of course, you know, getting the slabs poured, getting the walls up, getting the ICF up. Yes, we have to do all those things. We have to, you know, set the steel, but we need to get it under roof. We need to get it under roof so we can keep working through the winter and doing all those interior things that we need to do, and keep working on the exterior of the building, you know, with the brick and the stone and all of those things. Questions about any of that?
Good job.
Awesome. All right. Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Exciting stuff. Okay, last but not least in our 1000 series, Miss Dooley.
So you guys have a hard copy of this? And as Matt's bringing it up for us, just you guys have background. Mr. Gray and I met multiple times in August, and we revamped the scorecard. And so we kind of went through and decided what items are really going to move Fayette County Schools forward academically. And so this scorecard is more based on the ABCs of education. And so, as you can see, we have it divided up into several different areas. We have attendance, discipline, curriculum, enrollment, the budget items, staffing, climate and culture, and meals. And so our first piece is attendance. And Ms. Hedrick, would you like to report on the attendance piece of our scorecard?
Sure, I just want to make sure I'm in the right area here. So for August, our attendance rate was 94.36%, which is good. For a short month, I would like to see a little bit more, but we still have families that are on vacation and different components. Chronic absenteeism rate was 14.9%. That rounds up to 15. Obviously, that is an area that we're concerned with. We had one dropout within our 3 high schools. Graduation rate ending last year, what I was able to find was 93.6%, 94%.
And so, of course, that's just through August 30th. In a short next meeting or so, we will have the September data for you, which will be a little bit different.
Would we want her to tell her some good news from the State Department, their mess up?
Sure.
In a positive?
Sure.
You need to share this. This is.
Yeah.
No, I understand that. So I was tickled to death. One of my goals on the Fayette County scorecard is to reduce our absenteeism and specifically our chronic absenteeism. And I did not want to be red on the scorecard, okay, because we do know that red is an area that needs to be focused on. And so I wanted to be able to help lead with a group of people, many, many, many people, and get us hopefully to yellow. And we were able to do that. When it was first reported, we were still in red, and I said, I really wanted to be yellow.
Yeah.
And then both Mrs. Dooley and Mr. Warble, they said there was a mistake when they did the data. We reduced 5% from last year.
Yeah.
We are at
Excellent.
Yeah.
19.29. We are yellow. We are yellow.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a good mistake.
That's a very good mistake.
So now our goal is to maintain, not go back up. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that. I am proud of that, but a lot of the work comes from our social workers and our schools, okay? So the funding that we can potentially and hopefully be able to remain and continue to grow, we see the impact, not only for the attendance, but academically, because there's a direct correlation.
Thank you. Our next piece is discipline. And so Mr. Harper can talk to you about the levels that we have and out of school, in school.
The levels 1 and 2, remember this is just from the 14th till the end of the month, so it's a shorter month. Levels 1 and 2 is 141. Levels 3 and 4 are 47. Now I know that has went up this month just from some different issues. So that's a total violations of 188. We had 39 students suspended and 16 given ISS.
Just in August.
Yes.
A few days.
It's a half a month of August.
Yeah. They came back with a bang. Our next piece, as you can see, the benchmarks have been completed, and I'll be presenting that data to you next month, and then we'll put it in the October scorecard. But if we look at Promise, for Promise, this is all schools together. So at the end of last year, with the SAT school day only, we have 109 students that qualified for Promise, which is much higher than last year. Oak Hill High alone had 77. So we really have higher Promise numbers this year. Our dual credit, and please remember, this is August, So we're still doing schedule changes. So as you see these numbers, they're going to be different in September. Dual credit at Meadow Bridge is 23 students. Midland Trail is 35. Oak Hill is 127. Advanced placement classes, 5 at Meadow Bridge, 35 students at Midland Trail, and 107 at Oak Hill. And then the number of students we have at FIT is 439. And when I break that down, which I didn't write there for you, Meadow Bridge is approximately 15 juniors and 12 seniors, so it's almost half of the class. Midland Trail's about 75 juniors and 75 seniors, so a very large portion of that. And Oak Hill High, I think he told me 130. But that's just July. Our number, I can tell you, for September is going to jump at fit almost 100 students. So they're still enrolling with
And
FIT.
Ms. Dooley, if I could just make a comment for the board, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but board members, as you look, that promised scholarship number, those due credit numbers, and those AP class numbers will fluctuate throughout the year. So as more promised scholars
Yes.
qualify, that number could go up, or if they have grade point averages that
Yes.
go down, it could reduce. But with dual credit, you said there's still some class changes, so you could see
Yes.
some additions to that. But if someone drops out of that class, you could see it go down, and then we'll have a completer at the end of the year, right? So we'll
Yes, sir,
see,
that's correct.
here's where we started, here's who completed, so.
And this past week, Mr. Harper and the high school principals and the high school counselors, we met with New River, and we're starting an MOU with them for dual credit to offer even more dual credit classes for our students. We'll be bringing some possible policy addendums and some guidelines in the near future for next year, but we're getting the groundwork laid in place. It's very exciting what we have coming up with that. And back to enrollment is going to go back to Ms. Hedrick.
So currently, our total enrollment, for Benton County is 5,094 students.
And that goes up and down. The
Right.
next, yeah.
Yeah, it fluctuates.
Yes, the next piece is going to be Ms. Thompson with the number of students with IEPs.
Can't see.
So.
sorry.
It's
all right.
it's 117.
I cannot see that far.
1174.
1,174 students, 34 504s. And 23% of our population is special education, or 504s.
Okay.
Which is about what the state's running.
Yes.
That's so that
Yes.
we're not overinflated.
Okay.
It
That's
seems
good to
like a
know.
lot.
Yeah.
But there is a correlation with the Hope Scholarship, taking the gen ed kids, because if you're not the public schools, you can, I don't want to use this word too heavily, but you can discriminate on who you want and who you don't want. We're inclusive, they're more exclusive, if I say it that way. Maybe that'd be more appropriate. So when you pull the gen ed population, and we keep all the special ed, and it's not a bad thing, it's just what the data is. Those kids are going to be staying with us, and that's fine because I think we're better than the rest. So I'm just letting you know that number's creeping up, because when you take a denominator out and then the numerator, when that starts happening, when you divide that up, you start saying, oh shoot, we have more of this group, and that subgroup's going to get bigger. So her number could go from 23 to 30% real quick in the next year if we don't start figuring a better way to keep our kids in our school system.
So our next piece on this is back to Ms. Hedrick, homeschool Hope,
So,
privates. Yeah.
Oh, go on
So
to-
Go for it.
homeschool, we had 497 students that were still active at the end of August. And for Hope Scholarship students, it's 410. That's a number that's a little harder to track, because they come and they go, they're approved, they might come out, and then today of course I know it's a different month, but we had more going back in. So but it is.
Yeah, and I'll pop over to private. We're all over the place on this
Yeah.
one, aren't we, with enrollment? There's several of us.
Before you go on that one, if you look at 410 and multiply that by about $5,000, that's on the low end, you're talking a little over $2 million. So put that down as a note. When you, that's right now hard data for this year. And our October count is now tomorrow and the next week, make sure it's all certified at the state level. That's $2 million we just pushed out to no accountability. I'll just leave it at that and shut my mouth.
So would that be an increase from last year? Is that a pretty good increase from last year, or is that consistent from last year?
It's a little bit of an increase each year. We're seeing it go up a little bit. One thing I've noticed is that we had quite a few more that submitted the Hope Scholarship NOI. And as soon as we get that, the Department of Education tells us to go ahead and drop the students to whatever they're going, the IIP or the non-public school. But we're trying to find an easier way and a better way to track those that are then deciding that they don't want to do the Hope and that they're coming back in. I know at one point we counted 25, but I'm working with Jason. Jason Wright, he does our WEVAS. And because there are multiple codes for entering and leaving, it's, when he's writing the queries to do that, it's having a little bit more difficulty. So, we need to keep our students here, we really do, but we did get some back this year. Next year, I think we'll see a bigger change because of a legislative change.
Good.
And that HOPE number could be embedded in the homeschool or the private enroll,
Yes,
right?
they do not have to report to us
No.
where they go.
Right.
So for the privates, we only get that enrollment twice a year, October and then in the spring. So you're going to see that the private enrollment is going to stay, unless they voluntarily give us that number, they don't have to. They only have to report to us twice a year. And so we just received that. So our private enrollment is 225. And that's a federal program report. And then
Who has to report to you? Like, I know we have students that may end up Charleston Catholic.
yes, we
They may end
do.
up out of the county,
Mhm.
plus our in-county private schools.
So,
Where
right.
did you generate that numbers from?
So that's a great question. Our Fayette County money will follow those students. And so we have to account to students that go out of county. And actually, we don't have anyone going to Charleston Catholic this year. We have two that go to Nicholas County and one that goes to Raleigh County in privates. And then the rest of them are at St. Peter and Paul, Solid Rock, Danish Christian, and then the other one that reports to us now is the iHeart Church.
And Mount View.
Yes, and so those schools, we give them title funding. So since we give them funding, we have to know how many students they have for our formulas. In fact, we've just been doing private school ordering this past week. So
How's that hard? Is that hard in Fayette County? When they go out of county, they still get our money?
They do, and well, they have to also pay us back for using other schools' funds. Ms. Freeman told me, there's a different formula that goes with that for the 3 students that go out. It's a transfer of funds between 2 counties. Okay?
Is there a new Christian school opening across from our New River Intermediate and New River Primary?
That's the iHeart.
That is iHeart.
Yes,
okay.
sir. And that's another great question. So there's a lot of private schools, but the only ones that report to us and that we can legally ask is if we give them title federal funding. Otherwise, we don't have a
So a
number.
little pause, you may not know anything about it.
That's exactly
Like the
correct.
one in Montgomery.
We do not give them funds. They don't ask for federal funds for us, so we don't get a number of how many kids are at those schools.
Okay.
And I know that we visit them and offer, so every private school that opens, we must visit and offer them federal funds. They don't have to accept. But if they do, there are certain regulations they have to meet in order to receive federal funds.
But these
from us.
schools do not ask, how do you track where our kids are? How do we actually know where they go?
So if it's a homeschool student, they don't actually, I mean, they don't have to tell us. If it's a Hope Scholarship
Where you
student,
find that?
they can indicate that, but they can also list on the form non-participating school. And so they don't have to tell us. However, at the end of the year, if they are a Hope Scholarship student that is a non-public school, and they have to send me by June the 8th an attendance certification, and I get a list of students that says school ABC, then I will know that that's where those students are. And so then, when we put that in, because we have to go into each student's record and put that in there, I go in and I add it. That way I know where they are. Just for safety concerns.
Mhm. And if you'll talk about transfers, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Because that was your next piece.
Transfers within the county, here just within Fayette County, 135. Transfers out of the county, 107. And transfers into Fayette County, 65.
Thank you. And then you can see the next piece is budget. And Paula, if you want to talk about that, please.
As of the end of August, our current budget was $101,977,233.40. For the month of August, our revenue, our revenue was $6,141,000, and our expenses was $6,015,000.
So we made money. A little.
For that month.
Yeah, for that month, just a little.
What's nice about this is for the board is it helps everybody in this room take a collaborative effort to know what's going on. Because sometimes as the directors and the people in this room, we say no a lot and people get mad at us, but it always comes back to how much is it going to cost. And I know Paula does a really good job, and she just got that approved yesterday with her budget. But right now, this looks good, but hopefully that number continues to stay pretty good. But you can see what happens when you pull kids out of the school system. The money follows the child. End of story.
True.
Yep.
Denise is not here.
Those numbers are
Yeah.
correct, she said.
Okay, she gave them to us. She
Okay.
put them in there. And the reason there's problems with the spreadsheet, that's why Matt is showing it instead of mine corrupted, and I wrote the spreadsheet, so there's problems with some of the cells. Found out tonight, so luckily, we work with so many amazing people. So Ms. Hedrick was helping me, Ms. Fridley was helping me, Mr. Payton said, hey, talk to Ms. Fridley, and then Matt was, so it was a collaborative effort.
Well, don't forget Bob back there in 8I.
Bob AI'd it, and we were stumped, so, but it's okay, we've got it for this evening. Yeah, I'm just really lucky that
We're
we worked.
publicly showing our mess up so people can learn from us, and hopefully the next meeting,
It'll be right.
it'll be fine.
That's all right. What's awesome is we have the data.
Yes.
And so we currently have 447 employees, 37 posted positions for August, and there were 4.02% professional absences and 317 active service. There were 7 service position posted and 6.89% absenteeism for service. And then, as you guys know, Climate and Culture is coming up soon, October 13th. And we will have those results in when you see the November results. And then we have Andy, and Andy's going to talk about our participation rates.
Yeah, so you can see 41% breakfast participation rate, and a little bit far away for you to see.
56.7.
Thank you. Those are skewed just a little bit because we had a school that had dramatically lower participation this year than last year. But recently, our chef has gone there and is offering more different options, so we've seen a bump. So you will see a bump overall in the next month. We actually saw in the first 2 weeks of her being there, 20% participation increase at lunch and 20% participation increase at breakfast. So, and I expect that just to continue to come up as we improve the quality of that food, improve the options, improve the appeal, visual appeal. So anyways, I'll look forward to more future reports. This next month, October, is Farm to School Month. I've spent a lot of time working on sourcing local foods so that on Wednesday, we call them West Virginia focus that we'll do it on Wednesdays and we'll highlight it with the students. So tomorrow, we're going to be having some chickens that were grown and raised in Summers County, in Monroe County. We're also going to be having some produce that was raised right here in Fayette County. Did you bring those chickens with you? That's a special thing. Keeping some of that money local and the local economy.
Thank you. So the next, where we're going next is we now have schools doing report cards, and their first is due for us October 5th. And we really thought that we'd have pushback, and we've had the opposite, response. The principals have said, hey, I like this. It's making me accountable, keeping me on track, because I know I have to report. So the principal report card is similar to this, but it's much more detailed by the school level. They have to tell us the instructional focus. They have to tell us how many DOK snapshots, and we'll discuss all of these definitions with you. How many walkthroughs and 10-minute talks they've had, what their data's like, how much they've spent, how many fundraisers they've had, very, very specific spending items. So we're really excited to present that to you as we start to receive that data.
Excellent. Good stuff, thank you.
Love the new scorecard, Ms. Jordan. It's great.
It's a collaborative effort.
Yep.
Thank you.
Easy to look at.
Easy to look at.
Yeah. All right, so a lot of good stuff under 1,000 this evening. So, okay, moving on to minutes, agreements, and contracts. We've got items 2041 through 2047. Do I have a motion to accept those?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Groom. Thank you, Mr. Christ. And I'll open it up for questions or comments.
I have a couple of points of clarification, basically what it is, if I may, and I assume I'm going to ask you about this on the policies. On the policy 5530, substance abuse, on page 3 of 4, I think we've discussed this a little bit before, but just for me, a reminder. It reads about, where it's underlined in bold, provide mandatory annual education of public school students in grades 6 to 12 to fulfill the requirements of West Virginia Code students will be taught about these various areas. How and where is that going to take place?
So we did speak about this, we did talk about
I
this.
thought we did.
Yeah, it's integrated in the social studies curriculum and health curriculums.
Okay. I thought, and again, just,
Yes, sir.
I'll hopefully get that in my head now.
Yes.
And then, on approval of the harassment and violence, this thing here seems, I know we talked the last time as well, but just seems to keep, I don't know, growing in my head on the bullying and harassment.
Yes, sir.
I'm having a difficult time in my head getting the difference. I know we explained it, the definition, but I don't know, it still seems like they are one of the same.
Here you go, Coach. Bullying is an imbalance of power, and it's repeated over and over and over.
That's the key word, repeated.
If I harass you for one day because you're wearing a shirt I don't like or something, that's just me messing with you. The difference is bullying is imbalance of power, and it's repeated
So it's
over
just
and
not one
over.
time. If I bully Ms. Hedrick,
It's repeated.
time. It's one
Oh,
time.
That's just,
Harassment.
that's
Did I bully
more,
her?
that's more of a harassment.
That's harassment.
You're messing with
I'm
her.
harassment then.
Yes,
So we get to harassment before we get to bullying.
that is true. Yes.
So that
And-
can lead to bullying. And bullying must be documented. We have to have documentation. Someone
That's
can,
probably okay.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Someone just can't come and say.
I'm just having a hard time, maybe not now, maybe I'll
Yes, sir.
get in my head, because I've dealt with both sides as many like Tim has and other people in administration.
Yeah.
And just determine whether he bullied somebody or he harassed them. So,
Well, when you said to Mr. Hoag a lot about the red
I
pen,
bullied him.
that was a repeated over a period of time.
Does
Does that help you out
I
now?
didn't note it in the minutes. I bullied Mr. Ho.
You're
didn't harass
just,
him.
you're just,
I
no,
bullied him.
no, you're harassing me right now, but it could go into if you keep it up, you see?
Once we get the point.
Yeah, okay, you got it. Does that make more sense?
Yes, it does.
I figured,
Kinda
sometimes you gotta
That
teach,
down simple.
I made it to your level, didn't I?
And for Mr. Payton on this, Tim, one is Casto
I think I remember.
at New River and Oak Hill Middle.
Yeah.
Those buildings are
Sorry, I
not
had to
very
have a
old.
little levity.
So what's caused us to have to go back in and do something already?
The controls are failing. The design was not a good design. And the company that designed them is not backing them up. They know that they were bad. They'll sell us new ones, but they're not going to do anything with those because the warranty period is over. After a year, we don't have a warranty period.
Yeah, I know.
Even though they know there's a problem with it. So we also have some problems with some of the motors in the VAVs in those buildings. And I've had to build into the contract replacing 10 to 12 of those every year because the company that designed and installed those found a
Probably
problem
went bankrupt
with,
already.
they found a problem with, well, you know, no, they could afford to actually help people out with that. And actually, I think that would gain them more. But
Yeah.
they're a huge company, and I hate to say it, but they just don't care. You know, it's like, oops, sorry about that, moving on to this, you know, so it's on us to fix it. So we'll do the best we can, and I can't fix them all at once, but we
No.
can fix some every year. But now this, in this case though, we're not paying for all of this at one time. So it's actually
Right,
going
should
to
be
go
a
three
schedule.
different, I think we talked about it, Paul, 3 different funding years. So, it'll go through the
Okay.
cycle, so, we're not gonna pay them 600 and, you know.
Right.
It's either 3 or 4 payments.
$700,000 at one time. We'll pay them a fourth of it
Yeah.
every so often.
Okay.
It'll take about a year and a half to complete the project, but that will actually fall into 3 different funding cycles.
And how about the Oak Hill air conditioning? Where are you at on that?
So we're still waiting for it to come in.
It hasn't come in
We're-
yet?
No, we're.
How's it- I
we're
mean,
kinda
it's
limping
cooled down a
along.
lot.
We're adding some, you know, coolant to it as we need to, making sure that it's being checked and it's still running. And, you know, it's not running exactly the way it's supposed to, but I've heard a whole lot of complaints. But, you know, we just can't keep going on like that forever though. So, but once it comes in, we'll get it switched out.
Thank you, Tim.
Will it be a different company that we use for the Midland Trail Elementary campus, or that new school?
Yes, that's a
Different.
totally different company. I don't remember the name of the company off the top of my head. It's a local company. But they'll be supplying the units and installing them. And then part of their contract involves 2 years of service and maintenance to those units. Now, they'll probably work something out with Casto, because that's what we've done in other places where they'll allow Casto to do that work, and they'll pay Casto that part of the contract to do that work, and they'll just absorb that within our contract. Just makes it easier when we have the same people doing maintenance. That's what we're working on right now. We've done that with Meadowbridge and with Valley. Casto already had the Fayette Institute of Technology, but they'll be installing, and Casto will be installing the controls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did Casto ever do any work on those controls in the past?
Yes.
The ones that were
Yes.
going out?
Yeah, so one of the technicians for, actually, a couple of the technicians, but one in particular, that worked for Casto, had a good relationship with the company that installed
Mhm.
those. Now, the company that installed them is not the company that made them, that manufactured the controls. The company that manufactured the controls, well, was Siemens.
Mhm.
Okay, so they didn't install them, all right? But they were, the company that got the subcontractor's bid to actually install them, you know, they were the low bid. Those were the units that they bid with. So, and they didn't know at the time there was that issue with it. But they were very good about keeping, you know, us updated and working with this technician at Casto as much as they possibly could to give them workarounds,
Okay.
you know, to that technology, but we're just beyond those workarounds now. That company also is no longer in business, the one that actually serviced those units, installed them, programmed them, all of that.
Right.
So, and they were getting to the point where there was not a whole lot more they could do with them anyway. So
Okay.
it failed over time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Slade.
Yes.
Thank you.
One final question on the Casto contract. So I think I heard you say we have, and I've seen it in here, just a 1-year warranty on the new controls that go in?
So it's different with Casto because it's under the contract that we have with them, the maintenance and repair contract that we have with them. So that will always be part, as long as we have that contract with them, it's always going to be part of that. If we lose that contract with them and it goes to somebody else, it's going to be part of their contract,
Okay.
to take care of those things.
So that is an advantage for us in
Yes,
this.
it is. And the other thing, Mr. Graham, I'm sorry.
No, go
Okay.
ahead.
The other thing about this, and if you look at the amount of it, it's, almost $700,000, but it is a TIPS contract as well. So that's a good thing for us.
Yeah.
We had to go through a lot to satisfy the new requirements that are probably coming out, and Paula can correct me if I'm wrong, but we had to go through and get a lot of information to satisfy those new requirements that the state accounting policy is going to require for those cooperative bidding contracts.
Right.
But I think we were able to do that. So,
Some tips is just a like Sourcewell.
yes.
Correct. So,
Yes. But, we're coming, to find out, not all of those are equal. So, I'm glad that we're, having to do some extra, a little bit of extra legwork. We'll have a better handle on all of that.
Good.
So Sourcewell's a good one. Sourcewell's been around.
Yeah.
I mean, we can trust Sourcewell.
Yeah.
And TIPS we're finding is a good one.
Any other questions on our 2000 series?
I have just one on 2045, the tuberculosis examination. So reading this policy, it's really geared towards what happens if someone is suspected to have it. But do we do, in Fayette County, for the school system, testing when they come on board, like an entire?
It's a
This
requirement to
We
have.
test him.
Test you.
I passed.
You're the TV guy?
Yeah, I passed with flying colors.
I think that's the only one that,
Yeah, it used to be pervasive, now it's just to the superintendency.
yeah.
But even that's becoming outdated, but whatever, I'll get it tested every once.
So,
I see the red pen, put it away, Mr.
That's harassment, that's one time.
It's going to become bullying, though.
It might become bullying, yeah. 'Cause see, 3 of you in balance of power, see, you're getting it. You're getting it. There'll be a quiz next board meeting for you, Coach.
All right, we have a motion and second. If I don't have any other questions or comments, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving into our 3000 series, we've got items 3005 through 3007. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Groom, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Christ. Any questions or comments? All right, hearing no questions, all in favor signify by aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving into finance, which we did some of that yesterday, right, Paula? So,
I imagine you guys are tired here.
so we have items 4010 through 4013. I'll take a motion to accept.
So moved.
Thank you, Coach Ray. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Groom. Any questions for Paula? And Paula, your part of the scorecard is basically a reflection of the monthly treasurer's report, correct?
You're absolutely right.
All right, hearing no questions, all in favor for the finance section signify aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Our personnel section, items 5068 through 5082.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask for executive session regarding personnel.
So I have a motion on the floor for an executive session to discuss personnel items. Mr. Groom, that's a second. All in favor signify by aye. Any opposed?